Inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, press through the feet, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. Same time, we'll reach through baby fingers and we'll float the arms up and overhead. Feel for length from head to knee, and then we'll lower the hips down as we circle the arms around like we're making a sand angel today. As we press through the feet and lift the hips, notice that we can keep all four corners of the feet on the mat. If you notice that you're shifting a bit, see if you can make a little adjustment. If that adjustment creates any pain or discomfort, just back off the adjustment a little bit. We're going to continue with this feeling for the back body, noticing as we push the floor away, you really sink the feet into the sand, that the back body, you can really feel it starting to support the movement. And the more that we feel the back body supporting, notice how that helps to open through the front body. We're going to do two more, pressing through the feet, lifting the hips, shins reach away from the head, feeling for that nice length through the spine. See if you can keep that length as you lower the hips back down. On this last one, we're going to float up. Arms will be overhead, and if it feels okay for you, we'll leave the arms overhead as we lower the hips back down to the mat. Back of the neck is nice and long. We're going to inhale here, reach the fingertips away from the spine, and then invite the ribs to really soften, invite the shoulders to soften, really resting and melting into the sand. Let the pelvis and back release as well. And then we'll open angel arms back around. Bring our arms down to our side. If you want to place the towel back under your head, feel free to do that. Going into our leg slide with rib cage arm. So we're going to work to keep the hip bones nice and level as we're moving. Inhaling to prepare. And as we exhale, right leg slides, right arm floats up. And then we'll inhale, we'll reach finger and heel away from one another, creating length right down through the side body. And we'll exhale, we'll bring them back to home. And then we'll float that right leg up to tabletop, hip bones nice and level. And then we'll place that foot down, and we'll do that on the other side. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, feel the left leg slide, left arm reaches up and overhead. Inhale, feel for length, invite the ribs to soften. Exhale, sliding back home. Floating the right or left leg up to tabletop, let the shoulders soften. And placing that foot down. On your next exhale, right arm, right leg open. Inhale, feel length from heel to fingertip. Exhale, coming back home. Hips stay nice and level, floating the right leg up to tabletop, soften the shoulders, and bringing that leg back down. As you exhale, left side moves. Inhale, reach with the left side. Exhale, coming back home. Feel the hips stay nice and heavy on the mat as that left leg floats up to tabletop. And left leg comes down to the ground. We're going to just grab our TheraBand, make sure it's close by. And then we'll do one more set and we'll go into our hamstring stretch. Inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, our right arm and right leg slide. Inhale, feel for length. Invite the ribs to soften. Exhale, we'll come back home. We'll float that right leg into a tabletop position, and then we'll have our TheraBand, and we can put that around our foot. And once we've got the TheraBand around, we can just put our elbows into the mat resting so that it helps the shoulders and neck to soften. We'll have our leg in tabletop. Pelvis is in neutral. So imagine we've got this little mound of sand under our low back that's going to support that position. And we'll extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter if it gets straight. And then we'll bend it back down, softening the shoulders. Extending the leg back up, reaching the heel away from the sit bone. And bending back down. One more time, making a footprint on the ceiling. Remind the shoulders and neck they can soften. And we're going to point the ankle, point the toes. Flex the toes, flex the ankle. Point the ankle, point the toes. Flex the toes, flex the ankle. Point the ankle, point the toes. Really feel for that length through the front of the leg. And then allow the thigh bone to soften in the hip socket. Maybe give the shoulders a little softening too. And then just start to trace little circles. Use the TheraBand to support the movement. I'm just sticking with really teeny circles today because my body just feels kind of out of sorts with being out of routine. But you're welcome to make the circles as large as feels good for you today. And then we'll pause, we'll reverse directions. Invite the ribs to soften, the shoulders to soften. And then we'll bring that leg down. We're going to just lay the TheraBand on our, across our chest or stomach. Inhale here to prepare. And as we exhale, we'll lengthen the left leg and left arm. We'll inhale, we'll reach fingertip away from heel. Feel for that length. We'll exhale, we'll come back home. And then we'll float that left leg up to tabletop and we'll pop the TheraBand over the foot. Reminder to have elbows connected to the mat. Leg is in tabletop and feel for that mound of sand under the low back. And we're going to extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, breathing into the back of the leg. And we'll come back down to tabletop. Softening the neck and the shoulders as we extend the leg. Feel the heel reach away from the sit bone. And back down to tabletop. One more time, making a footprint on the ceiling. It's okay if the leg's not fully straight. And from here, we're going to point the ankle, point the toe, and then flex the toes, even the baby toes, flex the ankle. Point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle, point the ankle, point the toes. Feel for that length through the front of the shin and then allow the thigh bone to soften in the hip socket. Let the shoulders soften and start to trace your circles. And again, you can choose what size the circles feel good for you today. Keep breathing as you move. You can also imagine the right foot is just pressing slightly into the sand to help with the stability. Pause and reverse direction so that the whole body is not rocking with the leg. The leg is moving, but the body's staying fairly quiet. Shoulders soft. Good. And then we'll bring that leg down. We'll release the TheraBand and we'll put the TheraBand to the side. Back of the head is heavy on the mat. And we'll nod the chin towards the throat. And then lifting the chin towards the ceiling. As we're bobbing with our head, just check in with the rest of the body. Remind it that it can soften and release into the sand. Jaw and tongue can soften. And forehead can soften. Pause here. We'll start to draw circles about the size of a quarter. We'll pause. We'll reverse directions. Okay, pausing here. If you would like to use your towel under your low back, here you can, or you can also take your hands and place them under your low back. We're just going to do our head hover. So I'm going to take my towel and just adjust it so it's under my back. And then Once you're in place, we'll just get our right leg, we'll extend our right leg long, and you can rest your hands, if they're not under your low back, on your low belly. And we'll feel for that left hand or left foot, just adding a little bit of pressure to help support the body. And we'll inhale to prepare. As we exhale, we'll hover the elbows and we'll hover the head for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lowering down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. We'll do one more on this side. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll let that release. We're going to just rock the head from side to side, tracing a little rainbow with your nose. And then we'll come through center. We'll switch our feet. So we'll bring right foot in, left leg will extend, and that right foot can just apply just a light pressure into the sand. Teeth can be together, tongue can be to the roof of the mouth. We'll inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, elbows and head hovers for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale. Exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, hover 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale. And exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll come all the way down. We're going to rock the head from side to side again. Let the tension drain as you rock the head, finding this nice, easy movement. Come back through center. We'll bend the left leg. We'll lengthen the right leg, and we'll finish off with just 2 last ones. Feel that left foot just applying a gentle pressure. Inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, hover elbows and head for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale. And exhale, hover 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering down, rocking the head from side to side. If you want to keep the towel there under your low back, you're welcome to do that. We're going to go into our weights. So you can grab your weights. You're also welcome to put the towel under your head too, if that's where you prefer it. And then once you have your weights, we're going to hold them arms right directly above the shoulders and knuckles facing towards the ceiling. Check in with the back of your head. Feel that the back of your head is resting on the mat, so the chin is just gently gliding towards the throat. And from here, we're going to lift the weights up towards the ceiling. Feel the shoulder blades get wide, and then we'll let the arms plug back into the torso. And as we do this, you can do this at your own pace. We're just going to imagine that the shoulder blades are like bars of soap, and they're just gliding along the rib cage, finding whatever movement is available to you today. Continuing to breathe. We're going to do 2 more. And once you've finished your last one, we'll just add a really slight bend to the elbows. And we're going to imagine that we're resisting the weights as we open. So we're still almost like we're pushing the weights up even though the arms are opening. And when you reach your final destination, we're going to keep the collarbones wide as we start to push and lift them back up to starting point. And last week we played with speed, and you can do that again this week. I'll let you choose what speed you want to move at. I always like to move slowly, so if you want to try and pick up the pace a bit, feel free to do that. As you pick up the pace though, just make sure you're also resisting the movement as you open down. So we're working in both directions. The weight's not taking us down. And today we're also going to really think about keeping the collarbones nice and wide. So as we're lifting and lowering the arms, imagining you've got this Tiffany necklace on and you want to make sure everyone can see it no matter what position your arms are in. So collarbones wide. Good. We're going to do 2 more. And 1 more. Floating back up. And arms are going to be hovering above, like columns above the shoulders again. And we're going to think about the collarbones being nice and wide. And we're going to keep the width there as we bend the elbows. The weights will come down towards our forehead. Resist the weights down. And then we'll float them back up. Arms will straighten above us. Resisting the weights down. You can again play with your own speed here. Pick whatever's working for you. But try and keep that nice width through the collarbone or through the chest. Remind the neck that it doesn't need to help you and you can let some of that tension release. If you're needing some additional support, you can also feel for your feet just pressing ever so slightly into the sand. Not so much that your body's going to move, but just so that you can really feel grounded and supported. Breathing as we move. We're going to do 1 more. And when we're done, this one we'll lower the arms. We're going to put the weights to the side, have them still nearby because we do have 1 more exercise with them. And from here, we're going to go into our knee folds. And we're going to add our arms. Palms are facing in. Inhale to prepare. As we exhale, reach through both arms. We'll float the right leg up to tabletop. Arms can come up and overhead. And then we'll come down through center as we bring the foot down. Continuing on to the other side, thinking about the width through the collarbone as we're moving the arms. You can also invite the ribs to sit heavy into the sand. And also noticing that the hip bones can stay nice and level as we move. So we're supporting the pelvis to be quiet as this movement happens in our hip joint. Yeah, on this next one, instead of bringing the arms right up overhead, we'll just shine the fingertips towards the ceiling as the right knee comes up, and then we'll bring our hands together. And you can cross your fingers, or you can have palms just touching, whatever's comfortable for you. We'll add a little pressure into the hands, and as this right foot comes down, the left leg's going to come up. And you are welcome to stay with the movement we just did, where we just where we're not alternating, lifting and lowering between. Feel free to do that if that's what your low back or your hips are preferring today. If the alternating feels okay, then we're going to stick there. Breathing as we move. We're going to do 2 more. And on this last one, we'll leave the right leg there. We're going to bring the left leg up to join it if this feels okay for you. We'll bring legs together. So we're going to squeeze the inner thighs like we're zipping up. We're pressing into the hands, collarbones wide, and we're just inhaling here for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If that felt okay, you can bring your hands to your thighs, and we're going to add a little bit of pressure to our thighs. Collarbones nice and wide as we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring the knees in for a little squeeze, and then we'll try that one more time. Legs come up to tabletop, so inner thighs, if it feels okay, you're squeezing them together. If any of these cues create discomfort, ignore them. Hands are on thighs, and we're pressing on the thighs so legs are resisting. If that creates discomfort, you can always bring your hands back above the chest. And we'll inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll bring the legs back in for a little squeeze. Good. Feet will come down to the mat, and we're going to roll onto, we have one more exercise. We're going to have feet, heels aligned with the sits bones. We're going to feel the left hip stay connected to the mat as that right knee butterflies open, connecting in with these obliques on the left side to keep us grounded, and then that knee will come in. Doesn't matter how far the knee moves. Then we'll think about this right side. So right pelvis and right ribs are going to stay connected to the sand as the left knee opens away. The minute you start to feel that lift from the right side, that's your range. And come back. You want to keep that connection. We're going to alternate sides. You can move at whatever pace feels comfortable for you. Shoulders are soft. Back through center. I also sort of find it helpful as my right knee opens to imagine my left hip bone and left rib are getting closer together without actually moving, but just finding that energetic connection through that side body, side/front body. We'll do one more on each side. Continuing to breathe, feeling the rib cage moving on the inhale. Good, and when you finish this one, we're going to roll onto our side.